The human family. Once upon a time, two people from different backgrounds met. They fell in love and started a beautiful, healthy family, until a point in time came where the backgrounds and values of the two parents began to clash. One of the parents was raised secular, but the other more religious. As time went on, the religious parent's background manifested into a stricter belief system, while the secular parent's worldview became more skeptical. So what does secular mean? Not connected with religious or spiritual matters. What does religious mean? Relating to or believing in a religion. Being that the couple loved and supported each other, they began to make concessions for each other's views. One such concession was refraining from consuming meat. The religious parent decided, based on their belief, it would be best not to eat meat and for their children to follow suit. Although this was a seemingly trivial lifestyle choice, it became the catalyst for a thing called cognitive dissonance in the secular parent and the children. What is cognitive dissonance? The discomfort a person feels when their behaviour does not align with their values or beliefs. Both the secular and religious parent grew up eating meat, and up until this point so did their newly formed family. To the secular parent, the reasoning behind the decision seemed sound from a health point of view, although at the time there wasn't evidence to support that. Regardless, for a while the secular parent adhered to this decision and took part in a vegetarian lifestyle. After a while, the secular parent decided to eat meat again, but out of the sight of the religious parent to avoid conflict. But it wasn't long before the pressure of the secular parent's habits and societal norms edged themselves into the new formed family's lifestyle. After a while of this change in diet, the children then began being snuck meat-related products by the secular parent and were able to eat meat at school and outside of the family home. Now, this may not have been a problem if it was done straightforward as a disagreement of lifestyles between the parents, but it became a problem as it was kept hidden to placate to the religious parents' beliefs. Now you're probably wondering, what happens in the end? Before I tell you that, I gotta ask you, do you think something like this is a common occurrence in families? Well, let's replace the carnivorous palate with something like alcohol, music, games, or faith. Now, although the kids inherited this cognitive dissonance dilemma, their dietary regimen wasn't really their responsibility until they were old enough to do what they wanted. However, that didn't stop the feelings of guilt and betrayal for hiding their actions from the religious parent. In addition to feeling guilt towards the religious parent, the children also felt a lack of trust in the secular parent. After all, they were now participating in a performative lie due to the parents' actions. Although through childhood the children must have felt conflicted, once they were of age to choose their lifestyles, some stayed vegetarian and some ate meat. But the question that arose after all of this was it fair that the children suffered psychologically for not believing or acting as they were expected to while growing up? In the end, each child had their coming of age moment where they faced the fear of telling a religious parent that they had in fact been eating meat for a long time and that the secular parent approved, affirmed and hid their decision. As difficult of a conversation that must have been, the cognitive dissonance and trust issues now occurred in the religious parents' view of the world. Could they at the same time hold their belief that eating meat was wrong and anyone who did so was considered damned, and yet still love their children and partner, or would they change? The breakdown in communication between the two factions or parents is what ultimately led to a difficult mental health crisis for the children and conflict within the family unit, especially when some of their identities were tied to beliefs they didn't truly identify with. I tell this metaphorical short story because it represents a much larger issue of conflicting beliefs that affect every family and society on the face of the planet. This video is sponsored by the Culture Crack Spring Store. To access the store, all you need to do is click the link in the description or head over to YouTube. In the search bar, type @Culture Crack, all one word, go to the main channel, go over to the tab that says store, and then you have access to all the goodies available to you. And don't forget, please like, share and subscribe.